Mom at the White House with how the coronavirus is impacting the presidential candidates' campaign strategies in the final stretch.
The Senate is ready to confirm Amy Coney Barrett to the U.S. Supreme Court. And dumb moves most investors make.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
As the end of October nears, we get our first taste of winter. This is KOAM News at Noon. I'm Tanya Bach. Let's go straight to Michael Hayslip for a first look at your forecast.
Tanya, I guess if you want to look at it from a week perspective here, the nice thing is let's get the wintry weather before Halloween rolls in on Saturday. Because when we get to the 7-day forecast, it's going to be just fine. But I tell you what, for the next 2 days, we do have a little bit of a mess on our hands. Now, I'm going to start down to the south and we'll work up to the north. Everybody on the other side of that purple line right there, it's just going to be rain. That's going to be fine. It's much needed rain. Yeah, it's cold and wet and damp and miserable, but here's the key factor. I want to point out the purple and the pink right there. That's going to be the freezing rain. That's the important part. Yeah, we've got snow up here, October snow. I mean, imagine that. But really, it's what's wreaking havoc on our roadways right now, because this line that crosses not only 160, but also Highway 400, Highway 69, and I-49. That's going to persist through the afternoon hours. So if you've got an evening trip, if you know anybody that's up north and is going to come down through this, we need to be very, very careful of those 4 specific roadways that we're talking about, because we've already developed slick spots on elevated bridges and overpasses. Now, once again, what we're talking about as far as temperature-wise, we're right at that freezing point. Now, of course, it's getting precariously cold out there, especially, and I always like to bring this up during the morning show. Don't forget about the pets. Let's make sure that they're taken care of, because we're not used to this in October. Certainly, they're not used to this at all. And what we'll see here as we progress through the Freeman Health System Sky Camera in Joplin are extremely cold wind chills. 24 degrees is what it feels like in Joplin right now. Now, don't worry about the wind. Yeah, that's going to add on to the wind chill, but for the most part, it's not going to be too blustery. But here's the key factor, especially as we dip into tonight. We're talking about riding that freezing line. And so what that means, watch this pink right here. That's the key factor. That same line wants to stay. Like I said, it's all rain down to the south. But when we talk about 160, 400, 69 and 49. Not really not 44. We'll stay on the north side of 44. But those 4 roadways in particular need everybody to be very careful. Tanya, coming up here in just a little bit, we'll talk about from Monday into Tuesday. And then, tell you what, we'll put a silver lining on it and talk about a rebound in temps as we head toward Halloween.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Michael. Authorities investigate an officer-involved shooting in Montgomery County, Kansas. The case started in Coffeyville just before 1 p.m. when the dispatch received a 911 call reporting a robbery at gunpoint at the Regal Inn in Coffeyville. About 15 minutes later in Independence, a trooper spotted a minivan that matched the vehicle connected to the robbery. As the troopers attempted a traffic stop, the vehicle's passenger, 32-year-old Wesley Jordan of Hot Springs, Arkansas, fired at the troopers. A trooper shot back and a police pursuit began. After a short chase, the suspect stopped and a trooper shot Jordan as he exited the van. Jordan died at the scene. No law enforcement officers were injured during the incident. The 26-year-old driver was arrested and is facing armed robbery charges. The Arma, Kansas community loses one of its own after a boating accident on the Osage River in St. Clair County over the weekend. 43-year-old Chad Boswell was out on the water with a small group when their boat struck a submerged object and ejected everyone on board. According to friends and family, Boswell died while saving one of his sons. 3 occupants on the boat suffered injuries, including the driver, 63-year-old Carl Church from Nevada, who was taken to the hospital in serious condition. Early voting records are shattering across the country as the presidential election heads into the final stretch. As Bafta Imam reports from the White House, the 2 candidates not only differ on the key issues, but they differ on how they're handling the final 8 days of the campaign.
President Trump arrived in Allentown for a full day of campaigning in Pennsylvania.
We have a big event. We have 3 of them today, but this will be a group of people that we know very well.
The Keystone State is critical to the president's bid for a second term, and he has some ground to make up. The average of polls there shows Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden with a 5-point lead.
I think we're going to win Pennsylvania by more than we did last time.
Those numbers are closer than they were a week ago, as the president holds multiple rallies a day, and Biden has had multiple days without a public campaign event, including today.
He's waved a white flag on life. He doesn't leave his basement.
I feel superstitious when I predict anything other than it's going to be a hard fight.
CBS Evening News anchor Norah O'Donnell asked the former vice president about the perceived lack of enthusiasm surrounding his campaign during an interview with 60 Minutes that aired last night.
Do you think there are a lot of people who are going to vote for you simply because you're not Donald Trump?
Well, I hope there's going to be a lot of people vote for him because of who I am, but I think the contrast between Donald Trump and me is about as stark as it can get.
Vice President Mike Pence is also very active on the campaign trail with several events today despite a second COVID outbreak at the White House involving his aides.
The vice president's chief of staff, Mark Short, outside political advisor Marty Obst, and 3 additional aides recently tested positive for COVID-19. Mr. Pence's press secretary said while Vice President Pence is considered a close contact with Mr. Short, he will maintain his schedule because he is essential personnel. Bof Imam, CBS News, the White House.
The CDC guidelines do say essential personnel can continue to work with precautions. However, there are questions about whether campaigning for office is considered essential. The Supreme Court is expected to have 9 justices again by tonight. The Senate is ready to confirm appeals court judge Amy Coney Barrett to replace Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Now, Barrett's confirmation has moved along despite Democrats' attempts to stop it or slow it down. They accuse Republicans of a reprehensible power grab and warn that everything from health care to abortion rights is on the line. That's a look at today's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Up next on KOAM News at noon, Money Talks.
Investing in the stock market can actually make you rich as long as you don't blow it. 5 dumb moves investors often make. Just ahead on Money Talks News.
And later, a Mr. Food recipe for an easy, cheesy cottage pie. Plus, we reveal this week's winning Croctober recipe. And you still have time to cast your vote at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. We'll be right back. For some people, investing seems easy, and for others, it seems intimidating. And today, our money expert Stacy Johnson says anyone can try their hand at investing, and he's got tips on avoiding common mistakes.
If you want to fatten your savings, the skinny interest served up by banks is not going to get it done. One potential solution, the stock market. You don't have to be some kind of professional to invest in the stock market, and you don't even have to have a lot of money. What you do have to have, though, is the ability to avoid common mistakes. Here are some examples. Mistake number 1, not investing at all. Yes, stocks can be risky, and you certainly don't want all your eggs in the stock basket, but you do want some. Next mistake, not enough research. Stocks aren't rocket science, but they're no place to fly by the seat of your pants. Invest time before you invest money. Mistake number 3, impatience. Investing in the stock market isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. And if you start getting in a hurry, here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna sell low and you're gonna buy high. I've seen it over and over. You gotta be patient. Mistake 4, not diversifying. Spread the risk by spreading your money around to different stocks. Can't afford to buy 10 different companies? Well, that's what mutual funds are for. And the final mistake, taking too much risk. Don't ever invest money you're going to need within 5 years, and don't fall for a high flyer. Slow and steady, that's what wins the race. Nearly every investor, including yours truly, has made many of these mistakes, but it will sure pay if you can avoid them. Want to learn more about investing? I'm here to help. Just go to moneytalksnews.com and do a search for investing. For Money Talks News, I'm Stacy Johnson.
Well, as Stacy said, he's got lots more information and links at his website. To get there, just head over to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com and click on the Money Talks link. Still to come on the KOAM News at Noon, Mr. Food.
This is the time of year when we start craving meals that are hot and comforting. So with that in mind, we thought it'd be fun to whip up a casserole that's just that.
But first, Michael Hayslip returns with your complete forecast.
Latter third of October, and we've got an absolute mess on our hands. Not just us, it stretches from the southwest all the way through the Midwest. and then almost to the Great Lakes right here. Let's take a closer look at what we're experiencing. Now, earlier this morning, we even had lightning strikes that went along with our snow. We've been able to get rid of that. I can imagine Jim Cantori, he would have gone ballistic. He would have loved it here this morning with the old thunder snow that some of you experienced. By the way, if you have any great photos, videos of the snow coming down, maybe you got lightning with your snow, feel free to send them in to us on Facebook, especially at Michael Hayslip, KOAM. Now, the lightning pretty much isolated down in northwest Arkansas. Everything on this line right here, this is going to be our key dividing factor. Everything on this line is pretty much going to stay rain down to the southeast. That's very, very key because I need everybody that's going this way or living this way to pay attention, especially when you fall on that line with a purple, because that's the freezing rain. That's going to be our accumulation that we're going to actually see present huge travel problems for not only tonight, but also tomorrow morning if you're not prepared for it. And like I say, I always get nervous when it's that first bound of winter weather, and we're coming off of a last week where all we had was rain and everything. Sometimes we just forget to slow down, give yourself plenty of extra time, a lot of room between you and people, and it'll be fine. I just wanted to throw that out as a reminder. Now, the icons that we see here, multiple storm reports. We're going to start right there in Chanute. That's 1/10 of an inch, but you'll notice that was only at 7 a.m. Now, as we transition into Allen County, how about 1/2 an inch of snow? And here's the important one. Down in Chautauqua County, 2/10 of an inch. Now, it's not that snow icon, it's that ice icon. Now, when that starts to build up right there, that was from about 9:45 this morning. Roads starting to get slick. Now, remember, because of our temperatures, everything's really not going to get better. So what we're seeing right now, 34 in CJ, let's go 37 in Cassville, and only 31 in Chanute, 29 in Yates Center. Now we factor in the north wind. We're talking about wind chills that are barely holding on to the 20s as it comes in about 10 to 15 miles per hour. Couple key factors that happened from this morning into the afternoon. Our winter weather advisory has been expanded by 3 hours. It was going to expire at 9 o'clock tomorrow. Now we're going to ride this thing all the way until noon. And we've also seen eastward expansion of our counties indicated in purple throughout southwest Missouri. Then if you drop down all the way from the Red River up to the Kansas and Oklahoma state line, an ice storm warning. Now, it does stay off of I-44, and that's a very key factor because I know a lot of people are going to be out and about trying to get to work, maybe trying to get to a meeting, maybe trying to see family. Once again, if you have to go on this side of I-44, be apprised of that. Maybe even want to change your plans because this thing's looking pretty nasty for the next 24 hours. As the cold air from the jet stream sweeps down here, grabs some Pacific moisture, and then just turns into snow and ice, if not rain, on the backside of it. And to give you an idea of what we're talking about temperature-wise, 38 degrees in DFW, I'm sure they probably cancel school for the most part. 61 in Tucson, 63 in LA, extremely cold for that time of year. So we're going to be mired in the 30s for the rest of the day. And then as we push overnight, ooh, we don't like to see that 32, 33. Now, one thing to remember, ground's not too bad, but once again, there's your fine line. Snow stays up here, rain down to the southeast, but you notice it stays with us all the way through the nighttime hours. That moisture just keeps training through, as we like to say. And so Tuesday morning, look at that right there. We've got additional freezing rain. This is why this winter weather advisory has been extended for 3 hours. Just need everybody to get a head start tomorrow. Do not be in a hurry. Also, too, go ahead and tell the kids, tomorrow, you're stuck with again on your way out the door.
You know what this weather reminds me of? What it's perfect for?
Caramel apples.
Well, that would be nice, but probably not going to happen. But it is perfect for crock pot weather, making things in the crock pot. Can you do me a favor? Do you got your phone on you?
Right here.
If you got your phone at home handy,
right. Okay, what am I doing?
Or your desktop, go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Your choices are Sloppy Joe's, Super Nacho Dip, Creamy Chicken Chili, Caramel Apples. Our vote ends in about 5 minutes.
Oh my gosh, I just said caramel apples, I'm on it.
Okay, well, there you go. Creamy Chicken Chili's in the lead. What are you going to vote for at home?
Caramel apples up to 2%.
We're going to make this on Wednesday morning, so.
I'm making headway.
All right, we take this time to honor today's four-state hero, Staff Sergeant Denzel Davidson in the U.S. Army. Pittsburgh, Kansas native, joined the 31st Anti-Aircraft Brigade in 1943. He was stationed in Africa, France, Belgium, and Germany, earning 3 battle stars and a Good Conduct Medal. To Staff Sergeant Denzel Davidson, we thank you, our four-state hero. All right, right now our Instapoll has a battle between super nacho dip and creamy chicken chili. Make sure you weigh in, KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Results in just a minute. Okay, today's recipe uses simple family-friendly ingredients that you can put on the table in under 30 minutes. Howard shows us how to make his easy cheesy cottage pie in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
One of the requests we get from so many of you is for easy casseroles that are budget-friendly. Well, we've been listening. That's why today we're whipping up an old-fashioned cottage pie that's cozy and satisfying. The first thing we do is saute some chopped onions in butter until they start to brown. Then we cook some lean ground beef in the same pan as the onions, seasoning it with some salt and pepper, breaking it up as it cooks. Once the meat is browned, we add in a jar of beef gravy and let that simmer. This gets spooned into a casserole dish, and we top it with some mashed potatoes that we mix with a bit of shredded cheddar. As for the potatoes, these can be homemade, leftover, or even easier, the refrigerated kind that we find in our dairy aisle. Now we'll pop it in the oven for about 15 minutes. And when the top is golden and the filling is piping hot, it's done. I know you're thinking, how could something so easy look so good? This is the kind of meal you want to have ready when the weather gets a bit cooler and you start craving something warm and comforting. To get the recipe for what we call our easy cheesy cottage pie, all you have to do is visit our website. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a supermarket shortcut way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
All right, now for the moment we've all been waiting for, the results of our KOAM Instapoll. If we could pop those up, please, real quick. Oh, we'll get those just a second. Okay, in first place is the creamy chicken chili with 42% of the vote. Second place will be the super nacho dip at 40%.
It won by 3 votes.
Creamy chicken chili won by 3 votes. So close. Like, this has been changing throughout the show. This has been amazing. Thank you for your participation. That's what we'll be lifting the lid on Wednesday morning. Here's a look at our 4-state market prices.
Prearrangement is a thoughtful decision. Call us at Bath Naylor and...
It's cold. One thing to remember, just watch elevated surfaces. We are going to have slick spots on highways, especially when you get to 49 and 69. Now, over to Dow Quick, a look at what's coming up tonight at 5.
Yeah, at 5, a lot of Americans who work on Election Day have to make a tough choice, vote or collect a paycheck. Now, a growing number of businesses are making it easier for employees to vote. We're going to show you who is giving time off. Plus, a record number of residents in Jasper County are voting early. We'll have the numbers, and road crews prepare for our area's first round of wintry weather. All that's coming up today at 5.
All right, thank you, Dow. Thanks for joining us for KOAM News at noon. We'll see you right back here at 5 o'clock.